It is one of those enduring great mysteries in American history. That's the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. The legendary labor leader vanished 50 years ago today, in fact. But the search for answers for some continues. From Bloomfield Township, Michigan, Eric Shawn is there, who's been hot on this trail for a long time. Eric, what'd you find out? Hello.
That's for sure. Good morning, Bill. I'm standing in the parking lot where Jimmy Hoffa disappeared 50 years ago today. 2:30 in the afternoon, 92 degrees, a hot summer day just like today. I sat down with his son, James P. Hoffa, former president of the Teamsters, for our series on Fox Nation called Riddle, the search for James R. Hoffa. And Jimmy Hoffa's son told me who he says is responsible for his father's murder. Back then, Jimmy Hoffa was last seen standing here outside the old Marcus Red Fox restaurant, waiting to be driven to a meeting. He wanted help from a Teamster official and mobster for his run for Teamsters president. He was challenging the incumbent Teamsters president, Frank Fitzsimmons, for the union's top job, and he accused Fitzsimmons of turning the Teamsters union over to organized crime. James P. Hoffa, a former Teamsters president, told me that Fitzsimmons teamed up with the mob to assassinate his father, using two Detroit mobsters to take his father out so his father wouldn't become the president of the union again and no longer be a threat.
I think they got together and said, how do we make sure that he doesn't come back? Because they were afraid, because they knew if he did come back, he would win the election and he would pick back the union. And they knew that. And the only way to stop him was to kill him.
He says these two Detroit mob capo brothers, Vito, Billy Jack Giacalone, and Anthony, Tony Jack Giacalone, were responsible. Billy Jack's son told me he has no idea what happened to Hoffa. Tony Jack's son did not talk to us. The leading theory about what happened to Hoffa was that he was driven to a nearby house that was owned at the time by a mobster, and he was murdered there, his body destroyed at a mob-run waste plant. His son says after all these years, the Hoffa family, himself, his sister Barbara, their grandchildren, children who are now in their 50s, well, they all mourn the loss of their grandfather and father.
It's a special time. It's a time to remember, and also to say, remember all the bad things that happened. And the fact is, the good thing is that I had a great father, and he did a great job in raising our family. He was a great man, and we miss him. One of the things people say sometimes is, it's not how you died, it's how you lived. And you know what? Jimmy Hoffa can look back on that and say, he lived right.
Well, the Hoffa family is asking President Trump to release the FBI files of the Hoffa case completely. Thousands of pages have been released. They're largely redacted, and Mr. Hoffa told me he just can't figure out what's in them. They want the files released so the family and all of us can finally learn the truth.
It's 50 years ongoing north of Detroit. Thank you, Eric. Eric Shawn.